Samantha, thank you so much for joining me here today at GAIM Ops Cayman.
Thank you so much for coming to my hometown of the Cayman Islands.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having us then.
Yes.
What do you think managers still misunderstand about the Cayman Islands?
So there's a couple of things that I think managers misunderstand about the Cayman Islands, but the first one is just knowing a little bit more about our funds industry. We have over 30,000 registered funds here, which is an amazing number. That's more than double of all the other jurisdictions combined around the world. So I think when we look at that, really the power of the Cayman Islands has really come to the forefront of the funds industry. It's been pretty amazing. And so that would be kind of the first thing to note is really we are this global powerhouse within the funds industry. We're also tax neutral. So you're not getting that extra layer of taxation that maybe another domicile might impose. So that means that investors are paying tax in their home jurisdiction. We're not having to deal with those complexities here. And I think that really makes the process very seamless. And the last one is just the sophistication. I mean, having grown up here and seen how the Cayman Islands has evolved over the years, I've really seen that, the infrastructure and the people that have been attracted to come and live in the Cayman Islands and exist here have been amazing. And I think that all of those things together are really making Cayman that leader in the fund space.
Amazing. Where do you see regulated developments most likely to impact cross-border fund operations?
So there's probably two key areas right now that the Cayman Islands is focused on. So the first one would be fund tokenization. And that's really a hot topic in the industry. I've just come off a panel listening to some of those intricacies being discussed. But Cayman has recently passed legislation within the fund tokenization space. So a fund would not need to actually go through an additional VAS license process in order to tokenize. They would be considered just the same as a tokenized fund. So that's really a really innovative thing that we're bringing into play. And I think we're going to see big players utilizing the Cayman Islands for tokenizing their fund. The second part of it is really around those FATF and OECD compliance and regulations that we need to make sure that we have in place to keep Cayman at the forefront of this industry. And so we're working really hard right now because there is a review coming up for the Cayman Islands with the FATF next year. And so the whole island is really banding together along with Cayman Finance, the firm that I work for, in order to make sure that we stay off any of those negative lists and we make sure that the Cayman Islands is in a really good compliance situation when it comes to supporting international investors.
Brilliant. So I can see a whole host of developments and just the want and the need to kind of modernize. But where do you see the most pressure in the Cayman Islands to kind of innovate?
Well, I think we're not the only ones facing this, but it's cost, right? The cost of compliance, so having to make sure you're meeting those international standards and making sure that investors are compliant, but also just the cost of taking on new innovations and investments in technology, investments in just any part of the fund structuring process. It does take a lot of time and effort and financial resources in order to launch a fund. So I think emerging managers are definitely going to be facing some of those issues to come. But I think the Cayman Islands is still offering that amazing product, the amazing experience that I think fund managers are looking for in that process. And so I think we'll continue to see cost a pressure. The second part of it is talent. We are an island nation of 80,000 people, and so we need to have a certain number of people locally who work in the industry. And so we're really investing in that next generation of Caymanians who are coming up and working in this industry. So it's about making sure that we have people to work in financial services, but the second part of it is also attracting those off-island individuals, a lot of whom, do come to this conference and maybe one day would want to live in the Cayman Islands. It's bringing that innovation to the island, it's bringing the expertise and making sure that we really stay on par with that international level that we know we need to be at when it comes to offering our service.
That's amazing. So we talked about a lot of the future of the Cayman Islands, but how do you see its role in the future of global fund structuring?
Well, the first one is really around adaptation. So there's a lot of new things coming down the line, like evergreen funds or the private credit space. We need to continue to make sure that we're staying, up to par when it comes to being able to talk the talk and being able to be involved in those conversations with firms that are looking for that expansion. especially in the digital asset space where we see the Cayman Islands really doubling down. So we have 2/3 of the world's crypto funds here now, and we also have this new legislation that's coming through on tokenized funds. So that's really going to set the precedence for us, but we need to continue to innovate, invest, and make sure that we have the right people here that can solve those problems, but that we're also offering a great experience around the world. I think the last thing for me, and it's something that I take very seriously in my job, is just the exploration of new markets. It's part of my job as the director and head of funds and capital markets, is that I go out there and look for new markets where we're able to bring in new fund managers to utilize our product offering. So we've been looking at Brazil, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, the Middle East, and other areas around the world, which we really feel are going to be new eras and new waves of work for us when it comes to the investment funds industry. And we want to be able to support that industry collaboration that we need to have in order to make sure we offer a great product to them.
That sounds really exciting, Samantha.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me
Thank you
today.
so much too.